why Dean's death was not him giving up, but accepting his point in the story.
Why Dean's death?
Dean was not giving up.
He's not, because Dean is always known for never giving up and always keep fighting and keep living, and why he didn't take the opportunity to have Sam help him and go to, get an ambulance, and why
She didn't like my answer.
Are you looking for another answer? Is that it?
Well, you're
Precious own. I have two thoughts on this. One is, and this is something that we heavily discussed during the filming of said scene, was that physically and logistically, we were playing the fact that it had, the rebar had positioned itself in a way that if I was taken off of it, that it would be instant death. So that it was like basically holding my lungs together, holding my torso together, which if you took me off of that, it would just, I would be gone in seconds. So that's kind of how we had to play that in order for it to make sense, so that, so that he didn't go and run and get an ambulance or go and get the medic bag and Impala and go into triage mode. So that's how we kind of answered that question on the day and logistically, but more kind of in theory of why Dean didn't struggle so much. I mean, there was like, he was not happy that he was stuck on a post in the middle of a barn. And in fact, I think there was something I added there, which was just, I just yelled, I forget what I said, like damn it, or just like, damn it! Like that was not scripted. But I just feel like he would have been like, I wasn't prepared for this right now. But once it settled in that this was happening, I think, and we talked a little bit about this in the meet and greet yesterday, that there, and I think they mentioned that you talked about it too, about how much time had elapsed between the God showdown and the barn scene. And I think, I always assumed it was several years had gone by. And so they had been living in basically their ideal setting for several years. They beat the big bad, they saved the world, they saved themselves, they were doing what they love, they were in a routine that made sense. Everything was, they'd found their sweet spot. And I feel like that played into Dean's acceptance that he had made it. He was okay because he got to where he needed to go. And he was there and had been living there for a while. And that was what he needed in his life, and he kind of found it. And so I think it was easier for him to say the few things that he needed to say to his brother at the end.
I guess I have a dark sensibility because I was like, it was quick. They drove home from God and got killed.
You said it was like 5 years.
5 years.
You said it was 5 years.
5 years.
Between what and what?
Between the God showdown and the barn scene. That we had been living in that routine for like 5 years of like going on hunts and...
That's not enough years.
Hi, I'm Eloisa, I'm from Italy. Thank you, Jared, for always keep fighting. I said yesterday we need to greet, but thank you. So my question is for both of you. Can you share like story about shooting the finale that you haven't shared yet?
No.
Because the alarm was going off. Gosh. Yeah, it's so funny because, when we went back to shoot the finale was September of 2020, and so we spent so much time since we've talked about the show, other than Denver, Charlotte, and now here. It's like, what have we said? What have we said in interviews, Zoom calls, whatever? I just remember, well, maybe I did share some version of this, but the barn scene. For those who haven't seen it, there's a scene that happens in a barn in the finale that's very sad. And it was a long scene. It started out with a big fight with a lot of people, and then went to a part of the scene that was just Sam and Dean, after Dean wasn't moving from where he was. And I was just
Why are you being cryptic about this? Everybody knows.
no, she's on 15.5.
Yeah, but she knows.
Okay. So when Dean got jammed with a rod, stuck to a wall. When Dean got nailed to the wood,
If you New Orleans, good night.
that was actually the day after we shot the fight scene. And so we knew that the fight scene was going to be intensive, and you know, we would do it with the stunties, then we would do it with us, and any combination, wide angles and close angles and turnarounds. And so we all knew, and it was a Friday that we were shooting the stuff with Dean going through his last moments and Sam, when all the vampires had been dispatched. And so that was a really difficult night of sleep between Barn Scene Part 1 and Barn Scene Part 2. And also we had a long time to go through it because we had the script in March. And we had whatever, 5 months off for pandemic. And so I would try and go through it and I would cry and I'd be like, okay, I can't go through this too much. I'm just gonna trust that, you know, well, not trust anything. I knew that Jensen and I would get there and be there, that Bob Singer, who was directing, would give us whatever time we needed to get there and to communicate it, but also not make us do it over and over and over again. A lot of times when you're doing scenes, they'll do it 10, 12, 15, 20 times. And so the barn scene, we didn't do it very often. Like it was kind of like, you know, one and done. Like they would do one size, and if it worked, they'd be like, all right, back to ones, let's tighten up, let's move the cameras and do it again. And so it's almost like, that scene is almost like a live version.
We probably did maybe like 6 takes in total.
Yeah, total.
Six, 7 takes in total of both our, you know, including all of our coverage. So
Yeah. It's almost like a,
it's hard to do. Like it's, you know, after that many takes, it's like the well kind of dries out.
Oh yeah, especially going from where it started to where we were finished, and then you've got tears down your face, and it's like, okay, ready to go back to the like, what? I can't open my eyes. So it's close to a live filming of Supernatural as we have in 327 episodes, because we didn't do it over and over and over and over again. We kind of did it, and moved on, and did it, moved on, and did it, moved on, and that's a wrap. You know, go use some Visine and drink some water, because you've gotten rid of all that through your tear ducts. That's kind of what
I just was thinking while he was talking about something that I haven't shared about that episode. There's 2 quick ones. One, in the fight scene that preceded the death scene. There's a moment where the bad guys grab Dean, pick him up, and slam him on the ground. And we did it the first time, and it was fine. Jared and I have been in fights, and we know how to kind of protect our bodies and stuff when we're getting knocked around. But so the second time, I was like, hey guys, like really, I had 2 stunt guys. I was like, really, like maybe lift me up a little bit, and then slam to the ground. And for whatever reason, I tried to give them a little bit more momentum, so I threw my head up as I went back, and I went up and back, and I just, for some reason, the way my body was, I forgot to tuck my chin, which is what you're supposed to do, because if you don't do that, your head goes whack against the ground, and it was cement, and I almost went out. And I laid there for a second. Immediately, Brad, our camera operator, he put his camera down. He like cut it. He was like, whoa, wait, stop, cut. And
he was saying he heard it.
Yeah, he heard that my head slam against and yeah, I was definitely concussed. I like took a moment. I like had to like kind of walk outside, and they did like a concussion test on me, like they do in the NFL. Oh, that's funny.
3% of people just laughed at that.
Yeah. Whatever, fine. I'm an asshole. Okay, got it. So that was one, is that I almost knocked myself out in the fight scene. And then another small one was the driving, when Dean gets to heaven, he's driving the Impala down the road. There's kind of a little bit of a montage. And we shot that largely with the drone, which means that I was just driving by myself, alone, in the car, down a highway. There was a van kind of far in front of me who was controlling the drone, and the drone was just like literally flying around the car. But I just remember in that moment thinking that this was the last time I was going to be driving this car on this series, and it was like a pretty emotional moment for me. And that was something that I think I videoed myself doing it. Maybe one day I'll post that out there. But yeah, that was cool.
Thank you. Grazie.
Hey,
Michael from Houston.
how you doing?
Very good. So the end scene, obviously the Dean's send-off. How do y'all feel it should have gone instead of what was put out there? And
What do you mean, the barn? Or?
yes, the barn. How he, how vampires of all things really wanted to take him out. Like,
I liked it personally. I mean, I mean, believe me when I say it. He and I, and I'm sure y'all and the writers and the fellow cast and crew all thought about it 6 weeks per Sunday. For me, part of the poetry of it was what so much of Supernatural had been about for so long, which is, life isn't going to be the way you hoped it would be. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. It's your choice to make the most of it, or to try and gather the silver linings. Not that there was a silver lining, but try and gather what's good and hold on to that, as opposed to, well, it should have been this, or well, it should have been that. And so we had been in so many epic battles. Like, there was no more epic battle than us versus Chuck in the prior episode. And so having it be something as random as, there's a great line, like, you never know when the conversation you had with somebody is going to be the last one you had with that person. There's another thing that he and I have joked about, well, not joked about, but it makes us more emotional than we probably should. But there's something we read, like, we got a text from that at some point in time in your life, for all you parents out there, you're going to put your child down and never pick them up again. And you don't know what it is. You don't know if it's just going to be like, hey, I'm putting them in their car seat, and then not even thinking about it, they start putting themselves in their car seat and climbing down and bucking themselves. And then they're 15, and you're like, well, I'm not going to pick up my son. I can't. And I'm never going to pick. So when was that time? And kind of that very realistic in a sci-fi show, the very real trope that's available to everybody here who's never been possessed by Lucifer or by Michael, or been reincarnated, or been to heaven and back and hell and back. It's something very real. Like, make the most of what you're going through, even when it sucks. Try and focus on the positive. So I wouldn't change it personally.
Yeah, I think that just as like Jared said, what these guys have gone through has been such an epic journey that I don't think there was going to be any kind of massive epic fight scene that really would have sufficed to be the one that a Winchester died. I think it had to be something routine like this, and I think it just makes sense that Dean died doing what he loves. How that happened I think it should have been like that. I think for me, and I bumped on it a lot when I first read it. I mean, I think I was expecting some, giant Lord of the Rings style battle, where Dean jumps off the castle wall with a sword, and
And then Nazgul will get you.
right, yeah. And a dragon swoops in and eats me, like something. I'm just spitballing here. So I knew that wasn't going to happen, nor do I think it would have, there couldn't have been anything in this world that would have been, like that. So I think it had to be this, and I think it made sense. And we was talking about this a little bit at the Gold Panel this morning, that I believe that these guys were where they always wanted to be. They had, you know, bested God, and you know, Jack was doing his thing, and these guys were now, they had passed the goal line. They were on their victory lap and doing what they love. They were in a routine. They were hunting monsters and living their life the way they wanted to. And I think that was the perfect time for something like this to send Dean on his way. And so I came around to it, really applauded it.
Thanks, Michael.
One more thing. It's holiday season, so what's y'all's favorite pie?
What's that?
Favorite pie since it's holiday season?
Oh, pumpkin pie. I'm a massive pumpkin pie.
You're the one
Yeah.
I also do like apple pie, but
And I'm gonna throw you a curveball. Meat pie. If you haven't tried it, find a good one.
thanks, brother.